So welcome to class number 21, Shari Yichud by the Mitzvah Rebbe, Reb Hillel's commentary, your base. And we've actually reached the second last paragraph. And just want to share with you what the diagram that we looked at last week, just to remind us where we are. So here we are. This is what we learned last week, right? The 4 levels of existence, starting from up to down, the Yesh Amiti, the Ayin Hakalul Beyesh, Ayin Hamakol Yesh, and the Yesh Hanifrat. So from the top, the true Yesh, which is Hashem, the ayin that is included in that yesh, going down the ayin that becomes the source for the lower yesh, which is the yesh hanifrad, the yesh that is separate, which is really where we find ourselves. So this pattern of yesh, ayin, yesh is a pattern that exists throughout existence. And we were really focused on the fact that Iyun, which is Bina of Bina, corresponds to the Yesh HaNifrad, and that it is rooted all the way up in the Yesh Amiti, which is Bina of Atik, which is Bina Liba, or Avanta de Liba. So, and then all the other levels that were in between with how they corresponded. I'm not going to go into the details of that right now because it would take the whole class again. But this is where he really showed that Iyun, which is Bina of Bina, is rooted in the highest place, that the Yesh HaNifrad is rooted in the Yesh Amiti. And today we're going to continue to explore about the root of Iyun. And what he's going to do is he's going to repeat some of what we've learned in order to just reinforce it. And then he's going to expand our minds a little bit further and a little bit further. So we'll be introduced to 2 new Kabbalistic terms today, which will correspond to things that we've already learned. So in the beginning, it looks like it's talking about something we've never heard about, but really he's just giving us the Kabbalistic terminology. Okay, Mila.
Yeah. Good morning, good day, everybody. Baruch Hashem, just wanted to set the intention that we are here to expand and secure the borders of Eretz Yisrael. And B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should hear and really manifest that expansion and security. So we can see that as well. Okay, we are almost finishing the first chapter, the first round of it. And Reb Hillel taking us on a little bit, a little bumpy road. So you could, I'm going to share my screen and you are able to, let me just 1 second. Be able to actually go through it. Some of it you're already familiar with. And some of it would be like, oh my gosh, what is he talking about? Don't panic. We're here. And everything is just beautiful. Okay. So do you see my screen, everybody?
Yeah.
Is it big enough?
Yeah, it's big enough.
Okay. So we are on page Kuf Nun Vav. This paragraph. Ve'im kol hanal, and with everything what we discussed above, Yuvan ma'alat ha'iyun, we will understand the advantage of iyun. Hanikra hisboinanos, which is called hisboinanos, benun hakafel, with a double nun. Shezeu bechina bitul v'kivutz hamekabel, which is the aspect of bitul and gathering of the Makabel, meaning Makabel puts himself together. Shemafshit es atzmai, where he completely, mafshit comes from the word shat, simplifies. Yeah, he completely opens himself up. There's a word called nullifies, but it's not an accurate word because nullification is, has in our perception a little bit, negative connotation. But over here, he completely opens himself up. From his thoughts, meaning he kind of removes all his own thoughts that he has. Umalbisha, right? Le'ayen b'mashalim. And he encloses himself to do iyun in the mashalim, the hezberim, and explanations, shekibel mirabai, that he received from his Rebbe. Yeah, meaning he removes his own understandings, how he sees the situation, how he sees whatever that concept may be. And all what he does is just literally devotes himself to understanding and analyzing the mashalim and explanations that he received from the Rav. Shena'aseh etzel Rabba, that these hezberim and mashalim that he received became, they were activated, they were created by his Rebbe al yidei ha'iyun shelo, through iyun of the Rebbe. Does that make sense? Meaning he is able to remove himself and delve into mashalim and the explanations of his Rebbe that were created through the iyun process of the Rebbe as well. Okay, that's why this double nun. Okay, so iyun, in a way, it's a meeting point, both the Rebbe and the Makabel. Canal, like parentheses, as it was explained above, Shegam etzel Rabba Mashpia Shayach Iyun. That also by the Rabba Mashpia there is an Iyun. The Es Sheroitze Lahashpia Daika. But what kind of Iyun he has? Only when he wants to do the Hashpa, meaning only when he wants to give it over. But it's not during the time when he is conceptualizing the seichel for himself. For himself, he doesn't need to enclose seichel in a mashal. Why? Because he sees everything in its naked state. He doesn't need to enclose it. He's enclosing it for the makabel. When he needs to enclose it for the makabel, he turns on his iyun. Okay, we see enclosed, packaged seichel. So therefore, for us, we start with the iyun. Okay, up until now it's clear, right? V'sharash iyun, and the root of iyun, magia bebechinas uvanta deliba, right? And the root of iyun, as Neria just showed, right? It comes all the way until uvanta deliba, until the understanding of the heart. The sharash of iyun is the uvanta deliba. What is it? Okay, shehutam ve'onek. We all know this is the taste and the onek, a pashut, a simple taste and onek. sheyesh lo b'chachma zeis, that he has in this chachma. Okay, who has in this chachma? Shehiskila, that he conceptualized. Fein hamekabel yochel lagia al yidei ha'iyun shaloi ad b'chinas uvanta deliba. Shu makor ha'amiti shel haskala zeis. Okay, that this is simple onek that he has in this chachma, who he is a mashpia. Okay, that he is understanding and he's conceptualizing whatever that concept is. And therefore, because the Rebbe has onek in this concept, he's able to package it to the Makabel in a way that Makabel also able to come through this Iyun, his own Iyun now, right? Until the aspect of Uvanta Deliba. Meaning the Rebbe draws it down from Uvanta Deliba, packages it, sends it to the Makabel, and Makabel uses this to reveal his source, which is also Uvanta Deliba, which is Makor Ha'amiti Shel Haskala Zeis, that this is a true source for this Haskala. Al Yidei Zeh, and through this, Yachol Le'orer Koach Hamaskil Shaloi, and through this, he's able to awaken his own Koach Hamaskil, right? And that process we already learned. If you look at the slides that we prepared, 4 levels of Chachma, right? He's able now to reach his own Koach HaMaskil, Lahaskil ad ein shiur, that he's able to Lahaskil in unlimited way, Bahaskala Zois, in this Haskala HaPratis, in this particular Haskala, okay, Be'ilui achar ilui, higher and higher, okay? So this is we established. It's a good chazara. I'm putting everything in the right perspective of how this exchange takes place between the Makabel and the Mashpia. Ach oifen, but the way ha'agah ba b'seder v'adraga. Okay, so now this is all beautiful because we are basically discussing the beginning point and the final point. Right? But in between, there are many levels. How has that happened? So now we're going to be learning about how this whole process takes place. But the but the way how a person actually reaches, it comes in order and steps. From below till above. Okay, so now, deep breath, and we're going to go through the process. And we all know that, right? In the beginning, you begin with Iyun, and after breaking your head, you finally reach Amakasadas. Okay? What is Amakasadas? Right? In Tanya recently, it was all flooded with Amakasadas. What is that Amakasadas? Which Lahamti Chadoshes Bebina. Meaning I know the concept so well, and I'm so connected to it that I'm able to bring new insight into this understanding. I could bring my own Mashal into whatever that thing that I'm understanding. But after that, I'm able to reach the aspect of Ma'amik. And we all know that. What Ma'amik does, now I'm able actually bring new aspects into the Chachma, into the concept itself. Wow, that's a very high level. Atzma. Be'ilu yachar ilu. Okay? Be'ilu yachar ilu. Yeah, that's we know. Right? From Iyun we come to Makasadas, from Makasadas to Mamik, and now we are on our own. Okay, we became Mashpia in a way, right? Ma'amik. We're able to now bring in new concepts from this. Okay. V'zeu inyan Omek Tachas. Now, if you remember, last class we discussed about Eki Asher Eki, right? Now we're going to be discussing something very similar. Okay, we're going to be talking about Omek Tachas and Omek Rom. Okay, there is a higher Omek and then there's the lower Omek. Okay, V'zeu inyan Omek Tachas. And this is the idea of Omek Tachas. Sheshorsho megia lemayla mi Omek Rom. That his level of Omek Tachas, this lower Omek, which we're going to soon discuss what that is, reaches higher from the higher Omek, the Omek Rom canal. Why is it? Canal. The Omek Rom shorsho b'bchinas ayin hakolol b'bchinas ayesh. Okay, so if you have handy the what we shared, the 4 levels of existence, right? So Omek Rom, right? He reaches until the 2nd level, okay, which is the ayin hakolol bayesh, ha'amiti. Omek Tachas shorsho magia b'bchinas yesh amiti atzmai. Okay, Omek Tachas is reaching in the yesh amiti. Why is he telling this to us? What is this Omek Rom and Omek Tachas? Omek Tachas is actually not a good place. Okay, meaning it's a place where we feel completely lost, as if we are in this large pit where we don't have any solid ground under our feet. Okay, that's Omek Tachas. In a modern language, it's called rock bottom, right? Where this is it. I've reached, and I can't fall lower than that. Okay, Omek Rom is actually a very beautiful place. It's a holy place. It's a place where all these beautiful things are happening. So what he's trying to describe here is that the Omek Tachas, this lower Omek, is the space where actually rooted in a place that is higher than Omek Rom. And therefore, and because it's rooted higher than Omek Rom, therefore he activates for Omek Rom to get revealed. Me'almai, from his concealment, be'ilu echar ilui, le'en shi'ur. Be'ilu echar ilui, okay, higher and higher without any shi'ur, without any limitation. Shehu inyan koach hamaskil. Yeah, this whole awakening of Omek Rom is koach hamaskil. Okay, that a person activates this unlimited potential for anything that he might want, he's seeking in his life. Alidei ha'iyun dafka. And that level is activated specifically through iyun, as it was described above. Al derech mashal gashmi. Now he's going to give us a mashal.
Mila, can I just ask you a question on that?
Sure.
So is he saying that iyun is the Omek Tachas? I mean, he's saying that Omek Rom is Koach Hamaskil. So is he also saying that Omek Tachas is Iyun?
Yeah, we could say that for this sake. So let's look through the mashal. So the mashal is a little bit complicated mashal, okay, but it's a beautiful mashal to really dwell on, and it truly, with Neria, we're contemplating: should we end here, or should we move along and introduce the mashal? And we will introduce the mashal, but again, it's not a very simplistic mashal. So let's read through it, and please ask questions. Derech mashal, and let's explain through the mashal. Hagashmi, be'inyan b'maayan, in a wellspring, and the nahar, and the river. Okay, so let's just for a moment, let's go back to everything what we know about the wellspring and the river. Yeah, remember that wellspring that's coming all the way from aquifer, this deep aquifer that's going all the way up through the Gidim. What else we know, right? And then the Maayan opens up. Wow, amazing! And what happens then? Then the river is being formed, right? And the river is taking waters wide and high and long, and everybody now can drink. Yeah, this. We went through this mashal, okay? So now he is mainly now going to focus on something very interesting. right, which is Ma'ayan and Nahar, which is the wellspring and the river, Shetokif Neviat HaMa'ayan, that this, the strength, the potency, right, of this revelation of the flow of the Ma'ayan, right? Just envision this geysers that is like, shooting up, like, with this tremendous force. And they're shooting all the way Minat Tahom. So that same strength that pushes the water from Tahom all the way to the Maayan, this is actually the same, the same flow, the same strength that is flowing in the middle of the river. That's called Shtroim, the inner flow of the river. Now, from that inner flow, what happens? That what actually causes it to spread to the width and to the length. And interestingly, V'garam Lagova, and also up, okay? Meaning to the height of the river. There's a width of the river, there's a length of the river, and then there's a height of the river. Okay? Lamala mala, up and up. And what happens then? At sheyachal la'arar mayim elyonim, shemi'ala shamayim, to the point that he's able, this gaining volume of the water can awaken the upper waters that are above the shamayim, that are above the sky. Okay? As we see that this is exactly what happened in the time of the Mabul. What does it say? Maayanos of Tehom Rabba, that the well springs of Tehom Rabba opened up. And through this, the windows of the heavens opened up. And what happened then? Now, not only that it was flooding from below, but also it started flooding from above. Okay? Everything is clear up until now? Makes sense? And now we're going to quickly switch to the Nimshal. Okay? In the aspect of the Iyun. Sheba alidei lebchinas Omek Hamusak. Sheba al yada lebchinas Omek Hamusak. Okay? The same way of Iyun. Through Iyun, we'll come to Omek Hamusak, right? To the point. What is this about? Okay, Hamalubash Bazvarim, that Omek Hamusak is enclosed in the Svarim and explanations and the Mashalim canal. Vayachal Lahaskil, and he is able to conceptualize Mimenu Lemala Mala Harbe. Right, so the same way how the Iyun provides us, with this gateway to access the point of the concept. Through this, we're able to understand, go higher and higher than the concept itself. Hainu, haskalis chadashes. We just said, right? He's able to understand new concepts. Ad ein shiur, until unlimited, right? Shenovim, that are now being accessed, right? That are flowing milimala lemata, from above to below. Bebechinas koach hamaskil, mi bechinas koach hamaskil, from the aspect of his koach hamaskil. He's just getting flooded. Okay, shaloi. Bezeo bechinas mayim elyonim. Now that refers to mayim elyonim. Okay, so now it's koach hamaskil. It's opening up, meaning now there was the firmness, the rakia, and now boom, it opens up. That's it. They're not separating anymore. Now mayim Koach Hamaskil, let us have all these beautiful ideas. Okay? And this is the Mayim Elyonim. This is the higher waters, Sheme'al Rakia, that are above the Rakia. So now, what is this Bagashmias? Now it's going back and forth between Mashal and Nimshal. And Bagashmias, this is Akrumiyim Amakifim Al Hamoyach. Who remembers these beautiful membranes that surround our brain? These are the membranes, okay, that we are talking about. These are the membranes that surround our brain. This is in the mashal is the rakia, okay, is that firmness. And by some people, actually, it's more refined. Some people, it's less refined. It really depends how spiritual people get. Okay, the inyan and this idea of Tehom Rabba, of Tehom. I'm sorry, the text doesn't have the word Rabba. And the idea of Tehom, okay. So before we go into parentheses, that's clear. So basically, the river is flowing from Maayan. Okay. Okay, Maayan is coming from Tehom. It's going all the way up. Reaches all the way up and activates the upper waters to let go. Okay. So this is the person. The person is doing everything what he can. Okay, he's doing all the iyun, he's reaching his koach hamaskil. Not he's reaching koach hamaskil yet. He's getting his Omek Tachas, activating his, everything, whatever he can activate. And all of a sudden, boom, it opens up. Okay, what opens up? It's koach hamaskil. If you remember where koach hamaskil ends up in his brain, it's in this wetness, right? Lachluchias, amakif, right? Lachluchias, right above the membranes. Okay, so meaning what separates the brain from Koach Hamaskil is the membrane, right? What separates us from the waters of above, the rakia. Okay, so the membrane, it's like the firmness. Okay, and the Mashal and Nimshal together. So when we use the word and the windows of Shamayim opened up, what this refers to, that we now have a flow from our Koach Hamaskil. Okay. That's so far good. So meaning, who is Koach Hamaskil? Koach Hamaskil is another word from the Omek Rom. So now in this 4 levels of existence, find Ayin HaKolol Bayesh on the bottom right, Omek Rom. Okay, now we know what Omek Rom is. Now we don't know what Omek Tachas. What's Omek Tachas? Who is this guy? Right, our rock bottom. I think that's more more relatable than Omek Rom, right? Oh, we all reach that. Okay. So let's read the parentheses. The inyan and the idea of Tehom, of this aquifer, right? Hu bechinas mayim tachtonim. Right? This is the aspect of the lower waters. If you remember, on a day number 2, yeah, this is the song I sing in my kindergarten. Hashem divided Shamayim and Mayim. Right? Hashem divided the upper waters with the lower waters, and he called that division Rakia. Okay, so that happened on day number 2. That's why anybody who is born on Monday loves machlokes. Why? That's according to Rambam. Because there was a machlokes. Hashem divided upper waters and lower waters. And until Matan Torah, they were not allowed to communicate with each other. But after Matan Torah, that Gezeirah was taken away. So now, the Tehom, this is the lower waters, Sheyardu lehislabish be'afar haaretz. Yeah, these are the lower waters that came down to be enclosed in the depthness of the earth, in the depth of the earth. Okay, and this is like a little bomb here. Okay, don't get blown away. And in a nimshal, this is the aspect of the taste and the simple onek that in the haskala, shezeu amitat mahut hachochma nikra uvanta deliba, right? And this is the true essence, in a way, of the chachma, which is called uvanta deliba, the understanding of the heart. V'hu lemala mikoach hamaskil, and that uvanta deliba is actually higher than koach hamaskil. Why? And now he's saying that in this aspect, what ends up happening is the enclosement of the letters of the Bina, which is what? What do I mean? Bina has letters? For sure. With what letters is the Mashpia communicating to the Mekabel? Shehem Mashalim. This is the Mashalim that Mashpia gives. Like right now, we're reading through this whole Mashal. These are the letters of Bina. and hasbeirim and explanations, shehem ti'arav, that the Rav made up. V'lachein Omek HaMusak, and therefore the Omek HaMusak shebemekabel. Okay, the Omek HaMusak that in the mekabel, through which sheba, that he came al yidei ha'iyun, that he came through the iyun, right? Because Omek HaMusak he was able to understand only through iyun. Omek HaMusak doesn't just come on its own. But Oisius Hanal, right? In the Oisius. So how was the Mekabel able to ever reach the Omek HaMusak, right? The depth of the concept. Only through actually going through the letters. Shehem kudugmat Maayanos, that they are like well springs. Okay, habokim min hatahom, that they are coming forth, and getting revealed from the tahom. Ma'orim pticha, that they are awakening, the opening. B'krumiyas hamakifim es hamoyach, right? In these membranes that surround the brain. You understand what happens? So when we do Iyun, what we do, we refine our membranes. That's called actually, I'm breaking my mind. What is there to break? Right? You don't need to have a ham to break your mind. But, well, you actually do. So when we are insisting on reviewing and reviewing again and again, and we're reviewing again and again, we are refining our membranes. And by refining our membranes, we allowing, the upper waters release concepts for us and new understandings. Okay, sheyairu haskalis chadashes, that they will give us new haskalis, the new concept, Koach Hamaskil, from the Koach Hamaskil, lahaskil le'ein shiur, to be able to conceptualize without any limitation. V'zeu kudukmas aruves hashamayim, and this is when the windows of the heaven open up. Sheniftechu, that they opened up, laham shechmayim el yanim she'al hashamayim, to bring down the upper waters from above shamayim, vadal. And it should be enough to understand. Okay, does that make sense, or it does not make sense at all? And if it doesn't make sense, in which aspect? And if it makes sense, how it makes sense? I see one. Okay, so she has to listen to the recording. Okay.
Could you just explain the explanation of the spring that bursts forth from the depths of the abyss? Is that connected to what is that, Omek Rom, or the?
It activates, yeah. It actually comes from Tehom, right? So, you know what? I think I'm gonna do a little diagram here. Right? So this is our so this is Rakia, okay? The firmness, yeah? This is Rakia. So we have Tehom Rabba here, right? And then we have Gidim going up. Okay, so meaning there is two things happening. Us breaking from below to above by studying the Mashalim and the letters of the Mashpia. Like we're basically opening up like this. That's it. Yeah, we are creating these pathways that, like that, a lot. We're learning this Mashal and we're learning that Mashal. We're reviewing right? At one point, in the Nimshal, these are the membranes. Okay, this is the membranes that surround for the brain. Yeah, that was like our Koach Hamaskil. Eventually, through this effort, right here, we basically, sending the whole heavy artillery there. and we're shooting like, okay, we're going there. Now that's intense yigia that we're doing. So all these well springs eventually will cause a beautiful river of our own understanding to flow. Okay? So that's it. Meaning a lot of Maayanos gathering together, all the well springs that we are doing it, they're going to gather together and we're going to create a beautiful flow. So now that has a lot of tokif, right? That has a lot of intensity to it. A true Maayan is a strong Maayan. You have a bunch of them flowing. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to create a beautiful river of flow. And the river is flowing, has its length, has its width, right? And also has its height. So as the river going, flowing high, what do you think happens? This Shemayim that was here, right? The Rakia, the membrane, will shoot, will open up like at the times of the Mabul. We're going to get flooded from above. And that's why our Koach Hamaskil making up-down motion, meaning not only us going down, up, just refining the membrane, but when it actually opens up and now Hashem is sending us. Okay, now the upper waters are opening up and we are receiving messages and we are receiving concepts, unlimited amount. This is, what we anticipating, right? There's a concept of Isrusa Dilatata and Isrusa Dilaela, right? Awakening from below that leads to awakening from above. This is exactly the same concept, just in different words, that we are making our yigia, our effort from below up. That creates the, the flow that we could create from our Tehom, right? But that eventually opens up, the higher waters, and the upper waters are able now to flood us with information. That's where, the Gashmi and the Ruchni meet. Because to be honest, it was enough to flood the earth with the rivers and sea. They didn't have to do the rain and the whole that situation. And you agree with me? I mean, it's enough water on earth. It's enough the lower waters to flood. But there was a spiritual message in the Mabul, right? And this is the mechanics that's described in Chumash. That first Maayanos of Tehom Rabba opened up, and that caused the Aruvas Hashamayim to open up. And this is pretty much the process how we navigate spirituality, holiness, whatever that is. We do our part, and our part is what he specifically mentions. This is the study of the Mashalim, reviewing it, internalizing it, and that's what magnifies and draws down the upper waters to come down. Miriam, did I answer your question?
Mila?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. What was that?
I wanted to know how all of this connects with saying Shema, or with the Shema.
Okay, so Shema is his Maayanos, basically, right? So the Shema is Iyun, is the process of Iyun. We could make that conclusion very, comfortably, because Shema is understanding. Understanding is Bina. Which part of Bina is Bina of Bina? And it's our Iyun. Through us doing our Iyun, there's a famous explanation of the Mezritch Magid, right? Where Chassidim confronted him and he told him, like, okay, how can Hashem command us to love him? How can you command somebody to love you? Why is this even a mitzvah? How can you command? You could command, do mitzvahs, don't do this, do this, but to love Hashem, to have an emotional obligation, to fear Hashem, yes, respect Hashem, fear Hashem, but to love Hashem? What kind of commandment is this? How can you command a heart to love somebody. So Magid answered that when a person does proper Shema, but Ahavta comes automatically. When a person does proper Iyun and proper Hisboinanos, but Ahavta is an automatic reaction of a human body. We're going to come to love Hashem. And when we, go into this whole, quest now to understand what is this Bainanos, it's absolutely impossible to know God and not to love Him. It's like when we really truly know God, in a not in an intellectual way, but in a very experiential way, we are automatically drawn. That's exactly what happened by Matan Torah. What happened by Matan Torah? Hashem fully revealed Himself. And we accepted the Torah for sure. Who was not going to accept the Torah? Yeah, for sure. But when we actually accepted the Torah, it was by Purim, right? Chazal says that we accepted fully the Torah was by Purim. Why the acceptance of Torah was by Purim? Is because there was a concealment, and that was our choice. But when Hashem reveals Himself, we have no choice. That's not freedom of choice. When there's a full revelation of godliness. So now, from our Tachtonim perspective, when are we able to really love Hashem? Well, you asked about the Shema, but the Shema results in love of Hashem. But the Shema specifically means is the aspect of Iyun. Is the aspect of Iyun.
Mila, can I just answer to that as well?
Sure.
I don't know if this is what Yoni, is asking as well, but there may be a question of, okay, so, as you come to the end of this chapter, can you say that, oh, now I know how to do Iyun into the Shema? And I think the answer to what this chapter answers is just the question of Shema, of the Shema itself, meaning that the process is a process of Iyun. But later in Shara Yehud, he goes into the details of the Shema. If I remember correctly, talks about what is the level of Yisrael, what is, many, many details of the Shema. So I would say that the expectation that I would come to the end of this chapter and be able to do Iyun into Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, specifically, is not answered in this chapter. The details of the Shema are not revealed to us in this chapter. That's later in Shara Yehud. But he uses the issue of Shema kind of like as a springboard to talk about Hisbonanos and to explain that it's through Hisbonanos that one will come to know Hashem. And I think it's important to say, as Mila was suggesting, is that, the Hisbonanos process, what we've done up until now, we can't really say is Hisbonanos, because we're just trying to understand the pshat of the picture. When one goes deeper into the Hisbonanos process, then these ideas, you go beyond the concept and into the experience, where something that before just was letters and explanations and was really kind of a concept, you break through into that and it becomes an experience, and it becomes something that you understand and connect to and go on to the next level. And okay, that's what I wanted to say. I don't know if that answers.
I like to add, just reviewing every class, I think, is a tremendous bonus, and I think we're getting the exercise already.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, Sippy, that's wonderful.
I was thinking in general, what is he actually adding by, what was wrong with our analogy before? of the river. He gave it to us, right? He gave us. What's chiddush of this thing? He gave it to us. He said, Tehom, the Giddim, the Giddim of, the two Mazales, not Servenake, and the Maayan opening up, and the beautiful river. Everybody's drinking. Amazing. What is he adding by this? You see, this is my understanding, I've never read it. It's like when we activate our own, whatever is in our domain, our own understanding of things, and, connect to it, and we develop it, and, we have a beautifully, fully flown river. It's flowing. That's it. I'm good. It has a component of a yesh there. Okay. It has a component of das tachton in a way, like a lower das, is what I understand. There's me. I have created this beautiful river. I dug all these well springs through my yigia. Okay. And they're all beautifully flowing. Okay. So there's this eventually, but that's boring. This is what I'm able to understand. It's not, okay, we know ourselves. I mean, we think we know ourselves, but I'm talking about we're pretty much familiar with ourselves. And to be constantly indulging in self and our own understanding of things, it's after a certain age becomes boring. Okay. He adds this aspect of something beyond us opening up, which is the Aruvas Hashamayim, which is the windows of the heaven opening up. That's where we're able to perceive things from the God's perspective, from my Elyonim perspective, not only from our Tachtonim perspective. You understand it? And I think that's where the chiddush of the chapter is to say it's true. We first needed to understand the lower waters, how they work, but also understanding how we're triggering this transcendental experience in a way where we want to transcend our own self in this, experience of my Elyonim opening up and really, flooding our reality, because now we see the God's perspective in things. That becomes interesting, right? Because that's where the ultimate, relationship begins with Hashem. That we're not only, me, how I understand things, but we're able to, hey, come, give us a piece of mind, so we can make sense, but a different sense of our reality.
Mila, are you here?
Are we good? Yeah. Hi, Esther.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see my. Okay. So I'm wondering if there is connection between.
Yeah. Can you speak a little louder, because I don't hear you? I don't know about others.
I don't know why. Are you hearing me now?
Much
Are you
better.
hearing-
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if there is connection between this, what you're talking now, and what is saying about this opening of the waters, upper waters and the waters here. And it's written this in the Zohar that happened, a opening in around 800, no?
Yeah. When the whole, I know this famous Zohar that talks about that we're going to experience a similar spiritual flood with all the technology opening up and science and all that. 100%. It's definitely connected, because if you think about it, we think that we came up with these ideas. We did not come up with these ideas. We were allowed to come up with these ideas because the humanity have been thinking for a while. Why all of a sudden for the past?
I would like to add on that we were only able to invent it because we have it within ourselves. Everything that we have invented, we have it within ourselves.
Right, but Tzipi, we had this within ourselves for thousands and thousands of years. Why all of a sudden, in the last 300 years, we are discovering these amazing, things? Well, we were not thinking before. Everything was there. We didn't do anything. There was nothing added in the creation. Nothing was removed.
The Alter Rebbe did, when he wrote the Tanya, he said, it's not enough that I have this koiches Elokim, that he had the cell phone inside of him, he had the internet inside of him, he had the GPS inside of him. He said it's not enough that I have these koiches. Every single Jew, as simple as they are, should be able to have these koiches available. You have to understand, 200 years ago, a mama sent her kid away. She sent him a letter, and till she gets answer back, it's 3 months later. She would go to the Rebbe and say, Rebbe, how is my kid? How is my Yehuda doing? And he would go into deep dvekas, and he connect with that kid, and he would see him, and he said, no, how is he? Yeah, he's good. He's sitting learning. No, does he look like he's well fed? He's taken care of? The Rebbe again would go into Vegas, and again, yes, oh, he looks good. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And mother would go back, and this was, we hear about what the Rabbein did, like, for like the men and their spiritual work, but his day to day was more how are people that are far away? How is everybody okay? Is everybody alive? Because things took a lot of time, and now the Rebbe, what he said was, it's not enough that I have this koiches. This should be available to every person. And he was the way you say, he begged Hashem. He begged with all his might, and the windows of the heavens open up, and the industrial technology, and that's what we have is now. Everything we have is now is because the Rebbe, he knew what he had, and he wanted the world to have it.
Okay, great, Tzipi, but that's what it is. That was the Yigia from below.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
So Mila, do you want people to should we go into the breakout groups and see if people can just work with the text?
Yeah, so I think one of the things is important that each one will prepare, each group will prepare like a diagram of Mashal and Nimshal. Mashal and Nimshal.
So I
If
put
that
it,
would,
there's a document which has a couple questions, and including that you create describe the Mashal and Nimshal and do a drawing for it as well. See what you can.
okay, great. So let's we're gonna go to breakout rooms. We're gonna do 4 breakout rooms. Please join them. The groups are open.
So do you think people understand that the worksheet is on the WhatsApp group, and also I put it in the chat? No.
So maybe we should, yeah, I'm sorry. No, right now, no. Nothing. Until I will finish teaching, there's nothing much can be done.
4 people.
Yeah, Tzipi, Devorah, Shterna, Miri, please join your groups.
Means there are a lot of people without room 2 and 3 are just one person.
Yeah, but I think Tzivia, maybe I'll just answer her to room number 2. This way, she'll have.
Now she's not joined.
She joins. Okay, good. So we have 3 rooms. Yeah, Tzipi, you want to join? You want to join the group?
Gosh, Donna, Mary. Okay, so they're just 2 rooms.
Yeah,
One of them is 4
3
people.
rooms. 3.
Oh,
We have
there's
room number 1 is quite
yeah.
packed, 2
Okay.
and 3.
All right. It's a pity that people here are not joining. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't did somebody join or they left?
Ja, moesten witches niet uitleggen hoe het ervan. You could take everything and step out. Thank you.
Oh, I think they're leaving. Mila, I'm just wondering if we shouldn't open up the conversation. To YK breakout room.
Should I broadcast the message for them?
Oh, she's unassigned. YK. Who is it?
Yeah, Tihodit Kovitsky. I got off and came back now.
Oh, okay. Would you like to join a breakout room?
Yeah.
Okay. Do
So I'm adding you to room number 2.
Okay.
do you want to send people a message that that it's on the WhatsApp and
The worksheet?
So yeah, it's on the
There
worksheet.
is a
Group.
worksheet. Share it in our WhatsApp group.
So also put it
Please
on the chat. but we
use it
can't.
in your discussion. Okay.
So Mila,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't open up the discussion now about, what to do after next week's class. Or,
What's what?
if people are thinking that next week is the last week, then they could, start making other plans. So
Maybe we should, ask them if they want to continue.
that's what I'm saying. Perhaps just present to them what, from our perspective, what we think it would, would be useful, why we would like to begin at the beginning and really be able to do more creative, more interactive, more real learning now that we know the pshats, and try and experience real Iyun, and just get a sense, for people to think about it and also who would be interested. I would have to also speak to the people in my Tuesday class to see what they want to do. Like if some of them are, couple of them come to this class, 3 of them, and no, most of them come to this class, the Sunday class. So then maybe I would stop the Tuesday class and we just, I'd have to just find out from them also. But basically, I think it's time to put it out so people don't shut it down, because we keep saying it's like the end and the end and the end.
There's a way how to do polls.
Right, but you have to have yeah, if you're interested, but just to open up the discussion and then maybe, like you said, just get an idea.
I would like to say that right now it's summertime and a lot of people have like a weekend off here and a weekend off there. It's more masa, you're more on the road. You might have family members with you, so it's sometimes difficult to go on. I had that a few weeks ago also, so you have to take that. I don't think a decision needs to be made at this time of year.
Yeah, look, that's been the reality, and we've been doing it through the summer. I know for myself, I'm going to be traveling for a week, and people have been coming in and out because people are traveling.
They could always watch the recording. So
where's the recording? So the question is, rather than, because this is what we also discussed, Mila, is to stop and then start after Tishrei, but it's a long break.
Yeah,
And-
I'll tell you what it is. From my experience, if people stop, then that void gets,
You lose it.
it's yeah, it
So
gets carried away. We carve time, in this.
we might find that it's a smaller group that wants to continue,
Yeah.
but it'll be more in depth. I mean, from my experience of the Tuesday class, it's like things that the first time around we weren't able to, like our minds couldn't absorb. Now you can absorb it. Like you can go to the next level of even the pshat. Recently we were talking about Omek Rom and Orech of Chochma. And so now we got that down. So we were able to look at Keter, Chochma, and Bina corresponding to those three levels. Whereas the first time around, it wasn't even something that people could really comprehend. It was too much information. So there's a broadening even just of the pshat. There's a width and there's a depth that happens. You know what? We're still recording. I didn't mean to be recording this. Okay, so let's go through the worksheet. One moment. Oh. So first of all, did you realize that there was a worksheet? Were you working with a worksheet? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, so the first question was, how does Reb Hillel define Iyun and Hisbonenus in this paragraph? Does somebody want to speak to that? Okay. You want me to call on you? Chaya, what did you do? What did you write for that?
Hi. If you was there somebody else in the room that was is able to answer that one?
Hey, I thought it's a fairly easy question. It's kind of the first line of the paragraph. No,
when you can
I don't know who has this somebody speaking in the background. Shosh, were you able to answer this question?
I'd rather do like the last thing because that's when I was sitting focused on my book because it's a long story, whatever. So I didn't have my pen and paper in the beginning of how he was defining things.
Okay, so was there anybody who answered question number 1? No. Okay. So
we did, but we just don't want to say. Yes.
Why not? It's a very straightforward question.
Oh, we're so shy.
Yeah, she actually spoke into that answer. You did a good job with it. Let her explain. We were in the same group.
Oh, 1 second. How does Rabbi Hillel define in this paragraph? First of all, they're the same. They're for all intents and purposes the same. Or if you, Iyun is the activity, I guess, and it has a name. It's called Hisbon. No, okay. They're kind of the same. And how does he define it? It's a concentration to the complete extent of focusing all of your thoughts in a laser beam way, completely disconnecting from or pushing aside any other thought that you receive from your teacher, and being buckled to this whole process of the total concentration and the total rejection of anything else.
Excellent.
It's in the sentence. I'm cheating. It's written on the lines here.
Yeah. Okay. You know, it was, if you see this, it was just basically the first line. His bonus is the bitter and concentration of the Mabul, as he divests himself from his own thoughts and encloses his thoughts in the explanations and Mashalim that he received from his Rav. Okay. It's really quite simple. Okay, so now Reb Hillel introduces us to two new Kabbalistic terms, Omek Tachas and Omek Rom. What do they correspond to in relation to what we've learned previously? So Omek
Okay, so I
Tachas,
can answer this one, Nuria, because that's in the group. I can't remember your first name, the one who just spoke on the phone, Saratova.
Saratova.
Saratova, yeah. So she did a good job at that first question. I just couldn't remember your name to direct it towards you. But the Omek Tachas was more talking about the Iyun and that Tehom, and the Omek Rom was more referring to the Koach Hamaskil and referring to the Bina Liba, that higher, download of superconscious, I guess.
Okay, so what you said in the beginning was correct. Omek Tachas seems to correspond to Iyun, and he says very clearly Omek Rom is Koach Hamaskil, but it's not Bina Liba. Koach Hamaskil is different from Bina Liba, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the Omek Rom is Koach Hamaskil. And so we understand this also because he talks about where they are rooted. So where's Omek Tachas rooted?
In Iyun and Bina?
So Omek Tachas is Iyun and it's rooted in, you're correct.
Yigia? I don't know. Bina, I thought, but the lowest part of Bina, but I don't.
No, Omek Tachas, where is it rooted? Omek Tachas is Iyun, which is Bina of Bina. Where is it rooted?
Yesh Amiti.
Oh,
It's
okay.
rooted in the Yesh Amiti.
All right, I missed last week's class, so I think I'm not doing a good shot at this.
I that's included. So it's in the sentence here. The ayin that's included in meeting. The ayin that's included in the Yesh Amiti seems to be its source.
So that's so the Omek Tachas is rooted in the Yesh Amiti. Where's the Omek Rom rooted?
Oh, right.
Where's Omek Rom?
Nine of the first ayin.
In the Bina.
The ayin of the Yesh Amiti.
Say that again, Alkalea. You're correct, but I don't.
The ayin of the Yesh Amiti.
The ayin that's included in the Yesh Amiti. You know what? Let me. I'm going to stop sharing and share the image that we see this in. So here we have. Okay. Here's the Yesh Amiti, and we see that Iyun is rooted all the way up in the Yesh Amiti, which is Bina Liba. So they're just different terms. And the Ayin HaKol Ul Yesh, that is where we find that the Omek Rom is rooted, which is the Koach Hamaskil. with the Pele and the Aleph of the Koach Hamaskil. Okay, so these are just new terms that we begin being given, the Omek Rom and the Omek Tachas. Okay. All right, let's go back to the worksheet. Okay. So in this paragraph, Reb Hillel uses a mashal of a spring, Maayan, and a river. Describe the mashal and the nimshal in detail, matching up one to the other. And then we also said draw a picture of the mashal and label the different parts. So how, Shosh, you said that this part was where you
Because I don't have a handle on the Omek Rom and Omek Tachas and saying it correctly, I'm not going to let someone else do it.
You don't have to. So then he stops talking about the Omek Rom and the Omek
I
Tachas.
understood when we were going over that about the Tehom Rabba and then toiling and having the Gidim where we're breaking through with studying and creating pathways. Is that what you're asking about? And then it becomes these membranes, it's breaking through, and right, we're from our Gidim, we've dug into different we start to have this flow of ideas, and then when that starts to manifest, then Hashem starts helping, our Koach Hamaskil starts awakening. And is that what you're asking about or no?
Yeah. That's what I'm asking about.
Okay, so then yeah, so then as we start to develop things, you were saying but with real concreteness, like that the Mayan you're saying was having a length, the width, the height, where we really are having I guess a depth and a breadth to what we're expounding upon or understanding, our Iyun, and then then we get this flow from above. And you were talking about also, well, anyway, okay. Maybe ask me
Shosh, we're not hearing you properly.
Oh,
Okay, that's better.
okay, sorry, it was on my speaker. Well,
Let's see.
I guess I just said what, I don't know, is there something else?
Okay.
I really loved
okay.
the idea of the flow going both ways, and how that's just the personal part is just when we're really toiling and doing that, then it's really Hashem zapping our, that our Koach Hamaskil opens up. It's very, it's like a, it's a relationship. It's a lot of hard toil, but then it really starts to be a flow both ways, whether a teacher, student, or God, our creator, to us. It's very beautiful.
Okay, good. Al-Khaleh, I can see that you want to show your picture, but you have to speak in order for you to be on camera. So can you unmute yourself and speak as you show it? Then people can see it.
I don't know if you can really see it. It's
change you to
the
speak.
Tehom at the bottom. And then the arrows are the effort, the yagia. That's the Gidim.
Can you show us the picture at the same time? Then we'll see it. Okay. Speak and speak. Okay.
But then I can't see what I wrote. So then the line is the Hakia, and the Gidim create this river, this beautiful flow, and it breaks through the membranes, right up to the upper waters. Whatever, something like that.
It's interesting. You just drew the water cycle. As the water from below starts become heated up, it steams. It turns into steam, and it goes way up high. And up high, it cools down, becomes gashmiut again. Before it was air, and then it starts coming down.
Very nice. Wow.
Would anybody
So
else?
now we see what?
No. I would just want to know if anybody else wants to share their picture, if they did a picture.
Right.
No.
Mila, does he have a name or she?
She, yeah. Fuzzy. We don't know if it's she or he. We're gonna wait for a few more weeks. But this is our lonely guy. He lost his buddy. We don't know where he is. And ever since then, the other flock mates don't accept him. So he's being a rejected one. So he hangs out by us very often.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? But if it's not relevant, then just say we'll do it another time. If you're saying that we do Iyun and we open up, we kind of break through the membranes of the mind, we're able to bring down from Koach Hamaskil infinite knowledge for ourselves personally, and that has also happened globally to some extent. You know, it's called, you know, we see it through the internet, etc. What is it that to some extent broke through the membranes of the world's, the global brain of the world, to enable so much more, such a wealth of information to start coming down in the past couple of decades? Is that question clear?
I think a lot was with the Rebbe's leadership in 50s.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think that if you're talking about the internet really became an entity that we had access to in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s.
That's where the whole breakthrough with Nun Aleph, Nun Beis came from.
Right.
But is it that every single thing that the Rebbe said to do, and when we just did it, in other words, it's a picture, it's a system of billions of pieces, that only the Rebbe sees all these billions of pieces, and he just says, now do this, now get a letter in Sefer Torah, now do this, now do that, now, you know, now blah, now this, and we're like, okay, fine, whatever. Now learn Tanya, do Chitas, all these things is breaking through the membranes and has been breaking through the membranes of the world. And sorry, whoops, wait, I'm trying to go off the music. Is that what's doing it?
Apparently, yeah.
I think it also has to do with specific timings. I mean, this is kind of off the record because it's my own analysis of what the timing is, but 1990 corresponds in terms of time to midday of Shabbat, the last 6 hours.
Friday, yeah.
Exactly 1990. If you work out that every, you know, there's 6,000 years of history before Mashiach, corresponding to the Sfirot. So every day of creation is 1,000 years. So we're in the 6th day. And if you can work out where we are in the 6th day. So the 1990s began at a very specific moment in time relative to Shabbat. You're in the last quarter of the day.
So you're saying that in a sense, through the timing historically, if we had kind of hung out and done nothing, then it also would have happened. But our learning this here now is determining, number one, how quickly it advances. In other words, you're saying the infinite knowledge of Mashiach times is spilling into our time now. And it because of what you said, the timing. So I guess the question is how much what is our impact now in learning this? This is what we were sort of discussing before. Do we direct where this infinite, how godly this infinite knowledge is, or what this infinite knowledge is used for. Is it used for figuring out how to, God forbid, make bigger tunnels in Gaza? God forbid, you know what I'm saying? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did they figure out how to build so many tunnels in such a short time, and how to smuggle in all the stuff? Because they had access to, they couldn't have done it 50 years before. They had access to a level of accessibility of knowledge and information that wasn't available 50 years before, which is why they didn't do it 50 years before. So is it our job and merit to make sure that the infinite knowledge goes is drawn down as godly infinite knowledge versus, that we get it, or like the forces of good get the infinite knowledge rather than, God forbid?
It seems, I don't know the Zohar that well, but I'm not sure that I was saying that it would have happened like this, whether we did anything or didn't. The well springs from below may be according to a specific timing. The well springs from above, I would imagine, are more based on the work that we do, and will determine where the well springs from below are directed. I think it's a bigger topic than, and I think it is a little bit off topic for now. Okay. It's something, it's an interesting question, and I'm not sure that we can say more, like.
I think it's also how Mila starts the shiur. It's all for the sake of expansion and security of Israel. So if what Sarah is saying is along that line, that's kind of what we're trying to achieve.
Right. So that our Iyun, you're dealing with a lot of klipat noga, and we know that depending on our intention, the klipat noga goes towards kedusha, or it goes down towards klipa, God forbid. And that's the process that the world is involved in, and certainly that the Jewish people are involved in. I want to, in the last kind of 10 minutes that we have, just change the subject slightly. Next week we will be learning the last paragraph of chapter 1 of Reb Hillel. And Mila and I have been discussing, what are the possibilities moving forward? Like, what do we think should, we can offer? And so just want to put forward our suggestions and then get feedback from you, what you're interested in, what you would like. I see Nechama, you've raised your hand, or is this in relation to what I'm saying? But
actually, I had a question about the questions.
About the previous questions. Okay, maybe we'll come back to it. I think it's slightly off topic, really. And so I'll come back to your question. So Mila, you can join me in just making the presentation. What we felt that, well, I'll say it in my own words. Like, now that we've come to the end of chapter 1, and I felt like what we were doing was really kind of, with each paragraph, we were making a pathway through the jungle. Each paragraph felt like, you're chopping away and making a path. And now that we have a pathway through the jungle, what we would suggest is that we go back to the beginning. I mean, for people who are a part of my Tuesday night class, we've already started to do that, to go back to the beginning of the chapter and to begin to really learn it and to do some Iyun into it. And the way we would do it would be quite different than what we've done up until now, which is it would be much more interactive and active, more active learning. And we'll be able to, once now that you've got more rochav, really, you've got more ability to take in more information, we also try to do real iyun in a meditative kind of fashion. So we would be going through the text again, but we would be learning it in a very different way. And Mila, would you like to add anything to that? And then we just want to open up to ask, what you would like. Does that interest you? How you feel about it, etc. So Mila first.
So I think what we've done up until now is really establish the very, very pshat of the matter. Like, what is this about? What the chapter is about? And that's, I don't think we really went deeply into understanding of, even the pshat. It's a very, very superficial. We just uncovered, the blanket and see, what's going on there. That's it. Now, that's beautiful. And I think, we're holding on to whatever we know quite beautifully. What we could do is, pretty much, there are many variations. I don't think we're really ready to move to the second chapter at this moment, because I don't think the knowledge was really internalized based on the feedback, and it's also not advised, because this chapter possesses in it pretty much the entire Shariah, because this is the first chapter. It's an opening chapter. It's a thesis where the Rebbe is explaining and giving us all these shortcuts. And we also wanted, to make it more interactive. But given that there was so much new information we wanted to present, we didn't want to get stuck, in the places where the answers would be a little bit further down. So, to my opinion, I think it's going to be great if we could do something similar as we did now, but add more worksheets, add more presentations, and add more interactive learning, and actually try to do his bonus as we are learning these concepts. By really holding our thought processes. Have it done in in our brains. So that was the idea. Now the question is if this is something you would be interested in. And okay, so what we're gonna do is I created this little poll for the first time on Zoom. So let me launch it. You're supposed to see it somewhere. I'm not idea where. You see it somewhere? Do you see a poll popping in your window?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Yay, my first time doing it. Okay, so choose the answer. But again, it definitely, we're not planning on doing like a class type of thing. This is going to be more a workshop style, and definitely much more interactive, that will involve your participation in it. So that's the key, because we're all going to be learning from everybody, and really participating and exploring and figuring out how is that going to be, relatable to me. Or to you, or to everybody is in here. Just gonna, maybe share this story. I shared it with Neri a little bit. Happened to me this Shabbos. I'm a little bit obsessed with one mimer that I'm learning, Tefillah L'Moshe, and was, kind of like obsessed with it. Okay, we have 13 participants. We have only five who voted. So come on, let's choose. Let's everybody choose. Anybody has difficulty choosing, or you see it on your screen?
It has to be on the screen, right? You're not putting it on the WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah, it's on the screen supposed to be. Maybe I could do it on a WhatsApp group as well.
Could you do that, please?
On the WhatsApp group. I have the polls on the WhatsApp. Oh, I see you. Yeah, you have it. I don't see who is who, but we have 50% so far. who chose. 6 out of, okay, now we have 7 people chose. Okay, 1 no, 5, 6 yes.
And
Okay,
Shoshana said
so
yes.
what do we mean by experiential learning? What I mean is that besides us doing all the creative things, you know, the worksheets, these are the kalim, right? But the whole purpose of kalim is that we actually experience, right? It's like, imagine I have this beautifully set table with no food, but it has everything. It has the spoon, it has this, you know, when you serve the table, it has all the beautiful kalim for dessert, and a spoon for watermelon, and this and that, and all these beautiful things. But if I'm not really having what to eat with it, it doesn't make sense for me to invest so much in this kalim. So I'll tell you what happened to me. So as I told you, I was a little bit obsessed with this mimer, and especially as I'm, you know, developing an interesting relationship, that the content of the mimer like literally directly reflects in my life in different ways. And I reached, you know, a very interesting ice in that, where the Rebbe talks about, you know, Das Elyon and Das Tachton relationship, and how it manifests in a person's awareness down below. And I was a kind of pondering on it. I came to 770. I was a little bit late. And I figured that I'm not going to daven with a minyan because I won't be able to catch it anyway. It's just going to be like a rush through davening. And I said, okay. So I found where the mimer is in 770 and read it. And I really wanted to actually ponder on it with my eyes closed. And you know, I closed my eyes and really was like, you know, thinking, and not so much thinking intellectually, but more staring at what I was thinking about, at the concept. And something extraordinary took place. I literally felt the concept. It's very hard to describe it. I had Igros Kodesh next to me, and it was really a profound experience. I just opened randomly, and the Rebbe writes over there, I'm actually very happy that you are coming closer to the ways of Chassidus, and to the learning of Chassidus, and to the ways of Chassidus, which I find very interesting, because a lot of times we study about being a Chassid, and then when we actually practice it, it's a totally different experience. And then the Rebbe went on in a different letter on the same page, explaining the whole concept of das. And, you know, I took it very close to heart because that's exactly the content that I was contemplating on. What am I trying to say by this? Is that there are many layers of different realities and dimensions in our simple life. And when we actually scratch the surface and we try to do the true avoda, it's phenomenal. It's a beautiful experience to actually experience it, not only learn about it. Okay. So based on the poll, it seems that the majority would like to continue. And
So Mila, can I make a suggestion?
Sure. Suggestions are very important.
So for myself, sometimes I feel like really lost in this, and I wish I had the time and the inclination to really go over it during the week and study it. But at the same time, I basically I'm an interactive learner. So I guess what I would like to see, I don't know if other people, is to have some time during the week that we could to get together with either a chavrusa or a small group, like in the breakout room, just to review. And I think that would, for me, that would help just focus and bring it in. I mean, right now I review at Shabbos afternoon when I have time. So it just, what I'm saying is I'm aware that what you put into it is what you get out of it. And I would like to do more And it would be helpful to have a format like that.
So are you suggesting that that everybody has a chavruta, or you just saying that you would like to have a chavruta?
Well, I mean, that's I think it would be a great format to have a chavrusa, 2 or 3 people, but maybe not everybody can do that. But I would like to do that, and I think I'm suggesting it as if other people would like to do that, but that's.
So you're saying a chavruta and the class on Sunday, so people
Yeah,
would be.
and it could be like 15 to 30 minutes, but just to sort of touch base on where you are with it, or if people wanted to spend more time, they could.
Yeah, because I think in a format like this, I was thinking, I mean, we haven't spoken about it in detail, but we would provide, for example, a worksheet before, meaning that the best way for people to come to a class like this would be that they've already reviewed it, so that you're not lagging behind, that you can be actively involved because you've prepared your vessel. So what we could do is create a worksheet that is done before the class, meaning that you're coming prepared to the class. And in that way, the class will be on a higher level. And a good way to do that is, Nechama, as you say, with a chavruta. And, really, we really do want, suggestions from the group about what works for, obviously it's going to be different than what we've done now, but it should be a grassroots kind of effort, meaning that we see what works and hear from you more what is what can work. So that's a good suggestion. And, we're open to hearing other suggestions too. Okay, somebody's saying, all right. Okay, so if anybody, if nobody else has anything to say at this point, so then we'll see you next week. We'll round it off with the last paragraph, and then we'll make more definite plans about, going forward. And we thought that the best thing to do would be to just continue until, and take a break over Tishrei and not take a break now, so as not to lose the momentum.
Right, definitely, because I'll tell you what it is. We've done enough scratching of our brain, and our brain is like more receptive of different information of that sort. If we stop and then we continue after, it might defeat the purpose of us actually doing whatever we did up until now. And we definitely will take break over Tishrei, but I think the learning should continue. And all those who, won't be able to come one class because they have whatever event or they're going out, they could always listen to the recording. Now, somebody just privately asked me if this is going to be going back to the first chapter. Yes, it is definitely going to be going back all the way to the beginning and doing more Iyun on what we already studied. And they're definitely going to provide us with a broader perspective and a deeper perspective on things. And ultimately, we want to reach the level where, with closed eyes, we're able, b'skira achas, to go from the beginning until the end, where we're able to have that clarity of all the chapters, keeping them in, with the eyes closed, and we're able to go through beginning from the beginning until the end. It will take time. That might be another, 2 or 3 times of studying it. But if this is our goal, that of us knowing with closed eyes the first chapter, where it begins, where it ends, that would be beautiful. then we could really do his bonus on it before the davening and during the davening and everything else.
It's interesting that in a letter where the previous Rebbe talks about Iyun, he says it's not about covering a lot of material. So for those people who feel like, oh, I just want to get more information, rather than, says the real Iyun is about going in depth. So, in other areas, we cover a lot of material. Here we've covered a certain amount. And now it's, the opportunity is to go in depth and to discover what Iyun can, how the Iyun can really open up the Rakia, so that we can have the Mayim Elyonim come down.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much, everybody. And yeah, we'll see you next week. B'ezrat Hashem.
I'm going to post my question on the chat. My question on the content.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I'll stop the recording.
You want to ask now, Nechama? Oh.